Welcome to Sister Chat, where we come together to connect, honor, advocate for, and teach one another. I'm Sister Mary Delores Gatliff, and today we are discussing an important topic, bridging divides, fostering positive dialogue in polarizing times. Doesn't that fit today?
Absolutely.
Goodness.
Joining with me are two wonderful women with us here, TaTiana Cash and Crystal Taylor. Welcome, TaTiana and Crystal. It's a pleasure to have you both here to discuss this important topic. Could you first introduce yourselves just a bit so we get to know you? TaTiana, would you like to begin?
I can. I figure I'll start it off for us. Crystal, you finish it up.
All right.
All right, so TaTiana Cash, I am actually a graduate of Notre Dame Academy. I remember going to school, seeing you there, so
Yes.
I'm so excited to sit with you as an adult now. Still a student in your eyes, but as an adult. I work for WTOL 11 News. I'm an anchor and reporter. I've been doing that for about 12 years. So when we talk about political and divisiveness in times where things are uncomfortable, unfortunately, I see that pretty often.
Yes.
So, but my job is always to bring, not necessarily always a happy attitude, but the truth and just liven the mood, because nobody wants to be a Debbie Downer every single day.
Wow.
But
Well,
yes.
Thank you and welcome. And how about you, Crystal?
I own Crystal Clear Communications, and at my business, I work with small businesses to help them scale sustainably. And I also work with nonprofits to help them meet their mission and serve more people. And I do that through professional development, board training, grant writing, a little implementation on some occasions with different people, social media, things of that nature. So I spend a lot of time explaining to most of my clients this divisiveness that's going on within their systems and helping them come to some agreement and so that they can move forward.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both for being here. As we focus on fostering this positive dialogue in these polarizing times, it's essential to empower individuals to communicate effectively in order to bridge these divides. So, TaTiana, drawing from your experience and our current situation, what methods do you employ in order to try to effectively and positively communicate with others, and especially with a variety of people with differing opinions?
And it's so cliche to say this, but we go in with an open mind. You have to. I'm already kind of aware sometimes if someone is not comfortable maybe with women, not comfortable with a Black person, but I don't take it personally because that just means that they have a different situation, a different upbringing than me. You can't hate somebody you don't know. It's not realistic. It's an ignorance. It's a bias. So my goal is always to make sure that when I come in, I got nothing against you. And I want you to talk to me because, again, the whole point of my job is to listen to your story and put it out there. If possible, I like to somehow find a connection, and that includes listening, not preparing an answer and then kind of listening to you and then interjecting, literally listening to you. There's a good chance I'm probably going to ask you the same question twice, maybe in a different way, and I guarantee you'll come up with a different answer. And then at the end of the day, I've already accepted, let's agree to disagree if something happens, because we don't have to agree upon something. That is the joy of being not just America, not just, our specific Lucas County area. That is the joy of being a human. We have different experiences. We walk different paths. So I go in with an open mind. I've accepted the fact that if we're probably not going to meet somewhere in the middle, the fact is we're okay on different sides because you're allowed to have a different opinion. And then I walk away going, at least I learned something. Because if I was listening, I guarantee you there was something I didn't realize that I've now taken with me the next time I go to talk to someone.
Wow.
Good stuff.
You're listening to the heart, which is key. How about you, Crystal? How do you approach dialogue when you're in diverse situations?
Very similar in that I look at the old kindergarten things. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So you listen more than you talk. And when you're engaging with other people, people like to talk about themselves and they like to share their side of the story. And it's really important for me to pay attention to what people are saying. I add in repeating some of their words back to them, because that lets them know I may be listening, but when I can speak in your language back to you, it kind of softens things. Right? I may not agree with them, but it will be more like, I heard you say, and ask for clarification. That helps me learn even more. The active listening piece is so crucial, particularly when you're coming into a space and you're not really sure where everybody lies, which is most everybody, because today people have tons of things going on in the background. And so it's really important to meet people where they are. They may not know where they are. And so they may come in, the bias is real, but they don't see it because it's hidden for them. They don't even recognize they may be speaking, and I'm saying they because they is the thing. Who are they? And what do you know about the them and those other people? And so being able to get them to share more about where they got that basis from or that understanding, and giving them the opportunity to speak more. So I listen more and talk less, maybe redirect, and it's okay to not have a response.
That's
Right? We don't always have to just keep talking for the sake of talking. That's how you feel? Okay.
Yeah.
I feel very differently. And I wait for them to ask me my 2 cents. If they don't ask me, then I don't have to offer. And so that's one of the things I've learned just in the years of doing the work I've been doing. The more you keep talking and exchanging with somebody who's, they're either going to increase their level of frustration, or you're going to be able to dissipate it. And the way to dissipate it is to let them share a lot more than I share. I've noticed that. And then we come to an agreement, and we all know cooler heads prevail. So when you see that going that way, we can stop this part of the conversation for now, agree to disagree, as Tiffany said, and then you just bring it up later if it's something that needs to be brought up. But in the grand scheme of things, how important is this conversation to life in general for those two people or those parties to work together? If it's not, we can move on to something else where we do agree.
I think you both are very calming, a calming presence when you're with others, even if you do disagree. Might you give us some practical tips or advice if you feel that someone may feel intimidated by a conversation, especially if people are from different opinions or different cultures?
Sure.
Go ahead. Because my thought is, we'll go like this, because I've been in situations where it not necessarily the topic, but maybe the person kind of allows me to make me feel, because no one can intimidate you unless you give them that power.
Correct.
So it's a thing where you have to mentally look at that person before the conversation and go, okay, they're human. Nothing's going to happen. It's just a conversation. And we already know if you sit and argue with a fool from a distance, who looks more foolish? You both are. So take that time to adjust. And it's okay sometimes. I know we're talking about it, engaging. You don't, like you said, we don't have to talk about it. We could talk about something else. Ask them, is this really necessary? So that's where my thing, it may sound a bit like avoidance, but I am, especially after having a little 2-year-old, there are certain battles I am not going to fight. And it makes it easier, because also maybe they would appreciate the fact of, hey, thanks for not going there. I wasn't feeling it today.
Sure.
It's just easier that way sometimes.
Yeah, I believe in that. Empathy is very important to bring with you wherever you show up, because as I said earlier, we don't know what people went through before they stopped in to have this conversation with us. And so being empathetic and just recognizing some cues. I'm much older, but sometimes you can see, you seem a little aggressive, or something is off, or you have a bone you came to pick, right? And that's okay if I feel like playing that day, right? And we're just going to go back and forth. However, I really think it's important to get them to share more about where they're at and why they feel that way. So asking some leading questions to get them talking more.
And thinking.
Yes, will put them at ease. And then in that instance, if we need to have that dialogue, then I also say, now it's my turn to share. And this is how I feel about that same topic. also working with people of different races, different faiths. One of my clients is the Multi-Faith Council of Northwest Ohio, so we do this all day long, being able to bring people of different faiths together and have a conversation. One of their key things is that you don't proselytize. So you're not trying to convince somebody to do what you do, right? So I have taken that into a lot of arenas where I'm not trying to change your way of thinking, just having a dialogue with you to find out what I can learn, and hopefully you're interested in learning something about my side or the side of the individuals or those them that you are putting this off on. You know what I mean? Are you interested in learning how that population actually feels? And then also recognizing that there's not one representative of an entire culture or an entire population. So it may be the way I feel, but I don't speak for all people of whatever stature you're putting me in at this moment. Female, African American, all the things, moms, grandmoms. This is how I approach it. And so just recognizing that that's your opinion and the way you feel, giving it some value, but also not letting my side be devalued. That is one thing I am adamant about, holding my own power, is to make sure I'm not going to be intimidated, but I'm also not going to be belittled or demeaned. Those days are over for me. And so being able to do that in a peaceable way often means the conversation's over because you think you can speak to me in this particular manner. And so I can, no answer is an answer.
And then your peaceful presence and accepting them with their opinion, as that's your opinion and this is mine, you almost leave them with a sense of calm and peace.
I try.
Yes.
I am, because I love being looked at in a good eye in you still to this day. But I do, let's be fair, there are times when I'll get heated with someone. So my question, how do you, because what happens is sometimes if someone else notices, they do what we've been talking about. They'll disengage. But it's like, no, I want to fight.
Yeah.
You want to talk about this. You want to argue, especially for some reason right now. It is politics. But I do know, even in my more heated and excited moment, if we're not going to come to an agreement, it's cool. I think I just like the fact that we're now up in arms. We're excited. I'm an excitable person.
Yeah.
As long as I can keep it, I want to say civil, because I feel like it's okay to have passion, and as long as that other person is reading it and you're not giving aggressiveness, I'm giving you passion with what it is. And if it seems a little bit, so awareness is definitely something I'm still working on, because I can get heated and then that person may read and go, ooh, and it's just like, oh, okay, well, if you don't want to have the fight, let's not have the fight. But adjust. But that's comfort, that's knowledge of knowing someone in certain situations where we're not familiar. Maybe let that person know, like, hey, sometimes I get a little excited. It's not personal. I just love what we're talking about.
Yes.
Or I just feel very passionate. So it's okay to give yourself a warning label. Heads up.
And some time too, right? The time, like we're going to set a 5-minute time limit on this conversation. And when the time is up, that's a negotiating thing, right? When the time is up, we step back, rebreathe. We either come back to this conversation or we decide it's over, or we do it at a later date. Those are all great things to practice.
And we praise each other for our passion in whatever issue we're discussing at that time. So this has been wonderful. I wish we had a lot more time because I think there'd be much more to be said, but I want to thank you, TaTiana and Crystal, for sharing your expertise on this important topic, especially today. I'm sure our audience will find your tips and your advice helpful in whatever area of life or work they are in at the present time. And we thank all of you for tuning in as we navigate this journey of fostering positive dialogue in a time of change. So until next time on Sister Chat, may we continue to grow and thrive together.
Absolutely.
Through understanding and respect. Thank you.
Pleasure.